Hey everyone, this is Dor. I'm here in beautiful Portugal, behind me, with all the 5 elements of nature here. And what I wanted to talk to you about today, it's how to balance the 5 elements within you, something that's gonna create amazing result in your life, in things that you didn't even imagine. So balancing these 5 elements for me changed even things like where I want to live, or how this affect my feelings, and what do I eat, and where do I want to go on a vacation, and am I surfing or am I doing a campfire right now. So it's really impacted my life, and it was so important for me that I took this beautiful afternoon to record this video for you, because I see so much people are talking about self-development and they're trying to give you value in certain things, but a lot of the people that talk about it, they forget to mention this really simple and amazing aspect of self-development, balancing the 5 elements within you. So where did I learn all of this? There is this guru that I'm following. He's very famous. His name is Sadhguru. He's a yogi, one of the biggest in the world, and maybe one of the biggest that ever been. We're gonna find out. And I'm doing this Buddha Shuti, balancing of the 5 elements process every morning for the last 3 years, and it really changed my life. And by doing this process and paying so much attention to the elements, I kind of learn how you can access these 5 elements in you and balance them. So I became really aware in the last 3 years of this aspect in my life, and there's a few things that Sadhguru talk about that I can bring you here, which are the basic awareness of your 5 elements. And even these basic practices that you can do, it's actually like tools that I'm going to give you here. They really can impact and change your life in a big way. So it was so important for me to bring you this. Now let's begin with the 5 elements. So what do we have? Basically we have earth, like you see here behind me. Then we have the water, seeing this beautiful beach. Then we have the fire. Fire can be the sun, and also it can be a campfire. And there's also the air, right? The air around us. So maybe you ask yourself, what is the 5th element? The 5th element is ether. You can call it space. It's something that is in everything, basically. Think about it. In everything there is a little bit space, even between the atoms. There is this element of space. So we're going to talk about even about the ether. We're going to talk about how to balance this within you later. Now let's start. What are the percentages that you have from each one? So we know that water, we have 72% in our body, around 2/3 of our body is just water. If you look at the ocean behind me, so 72% also of the earth is water, which is really interesting. We used to look at water like commodity, like something that we just drink and go. We just need to finish this drink. But actually water are a life-making material. If you think about it, without water there's no life. And that's why when we look for life in space, we look for water. And water is such an important part of us. And there's also a lot of research today, like this doctor, I'm gonna put his name here, that did this research and discovered that even our words affect the water around us. So water contains memory. It's like DNA, and they hold all the memory. And the way we treat the water, even if it's by attention to them or intention to them, can really change the effect on the water. And then we consume the water, we put them inside us, so of course that the water are gonna affect us in their turn. So basically, to balance the water within us, we need to do a few simple things. So the first thing that I'm doing is, when I drink water, I'm using this thing to revive the water, basically bring them back the molecular structure or the memory that they had when they were like in nature. So imagine you go into this beautiful waterfall and you put your hand inside the waterfall and the water feels silky. It's not the same water that come out of your stream, because the water that come out of your stream, they go in like 90 degrees angles and you don't revive them. So I want to drink the most vivid water there is. So in the East, they always knew it. That's why in all the culture in the East, even the Arab culture, the Indian culture, Asian, they always keep their water in like these copper vessels during the night. And that's bring back the balance to the water themselves. And that's what you want to do. Either take a big copper vessel and hold the water for the night. You can even put cover them with something, even put a flower or something to give them appreciation. And you can basically even give your intention before you drink the water. Say something like, I feel really lucky that I have this water to drink. I'm appreciating of you, of this life-making material, and appreciate the water. Another thing you can do instead of the copper vessel, you can also buy this filter. It looks like a filter. It's a water reviver. I ordered this from an American company. They have this technology of reviving the water. They tested this on agriculture, and they found out with 10% of the water, you can get the same crops that you would use if you use 10 times the water. Now, in this explanation about the 5 elements, there are different aspects about every element. So one aspect about the water is how to treat the water, like I said, like give them good attention, good words. Before you drink the water, just pay attention to them. There is another aspect how you keep the water themselves before you drink them. And also another important aspect is when you go inside the water, right? Like the surfer here. So sometimes I ask myself, why did I was so drawn to surfing all my life since I was a kid? And I was as I grew up, I always wanted to be around water. My body's just kind of always want to be next to the ocean. And I asked myself why. So a really important and amazing aspect of this is your inner organization of elements in your body. So if you go by Ayurveda, it's like the Chinese medicine of India. So it's like the Indian medicine. It's very ancient science. It's like more than 6,000 years old. And if you look at the whole, of course, it's related to the yoga, and both of them talk about the 5 elements. And in the Ayurveda, they divided the elements that you are built from. Okay, so each one of us has this element that is controlled by. So some of us are more controlled by water, earth, air, fire. So they divide this. And if you want to do it, you can actually go now and check a free Ayurveda test online. And they ask you this few questions like your skin tone, are you like a curious person, and stuff like this. And it actually tells you what's your Veda. So what is the element that control you? Now when you do the test, you're going to see that it's always 2 elements that are stronger than inside you, or one main one and one a little bit less, and the other 2 are less strong, but of course they exist inside you. So I'll give you an example of this, a story about this that's going to explain it really well. So I was in India, and this one guy went to this Ayurvedic doctor. He was this Israeli guy that was kind of with me. And the thing about this guy, he used to puke every day, 3 times a day. So every time he eats something, he's going to puke. And it was so crazy, to see someone that just you eat with him in the restaurant and he's just I'll be back in a second. He's going to the bathroom, blah, come back, yeah, I just puked. It was such a weird thing to see, but also interesting. So when he went to the Ayurvedic doctor found, without him telling him, that he have 80% water element. The main element that controlled him was water, 80%. So it's really big comparing to the other ones. So most of the people, it's probably like 60, 20, and 20, because they divide it into 3 categories. You're gonna see when you go check it. And, or some of them are more than the other, but he was a very like extreme water person. So another example for this, to understand how this works, is I'll give you an example about me. I discovered that I'm a very fiery person. What does it mean to be a fiery person? This element, it controls everything you are. So I'm curious, my curiosity. So people that are controlled by fire are very curious about things, and they always want to know, and they're very interactive, they're very outgoing with their environment. They like to talk and they like to express themselves with people. And even the skin tone is more dark, the eyes are more dark for fiery person. Someone that's controlled by water, usually it's more light eyes, more pale skin. So it is all these things that once you're gonna really understand how this Ayurvedic system works, you're gonna discover that like you can actually look at people and see, oh, this person is very fire, or this person is very earth. Why do we say down to earth? This person element is very earth-like. So each one of us is controlled by different element. But no one talks about how you're gonna balance this element. So for me, as a fire person, I always felt that I need to be next to water. Why? Because water balances me. Makes sense now? So I always need to this balance in my life, because, for example, I grew out in a desert, in the Dead Sea. Sometimes it used to get so hot, it's a huge desert, that I really felt almost sick just because of the climate, just because of the environment around me. So it's so important to find this balance in your life. If you're a fire person, to balance yourself and go to nature, be around water, swim in the pool, go to a lake, take a boat, sail around the world, or just be aware, take a lot of showers every day. It's something that I do, just to keep your body balanced with water. Another important thing about water is that you can cleanse yourself. When you wash yourself in the shower, it's not only the body get clean, it's the energies get clean. So another thing you can do is just put some water in your hand. Let's say it's your glass or your cup. Put them in both of your hands. I can't show this right now because I'm holding the camera. So you put water in both of your hands, and just your intention is something good. You bless the water. You say some good words, or you're just appreciative of the water before you put them inside your system. And if you remember, I recommended how to two other things, this vessel and this water reviver, so it can actually empower this effect of the water in you. So that's how you balance with water. If I have something else about water, I'm gonna say it later. Let's move to the next one. Let's move to, hey, no. It's okay. The dog almost bit my camera. So let's move to the next one. Earth. Okay, how you balance earth inside you. A very important thing is at least once a day to put your feet and hands, exposed feet and hands, not with shoes like I'm walking now, inside the ground. Okay, this is gonna really help you. And a good example of this is just to go to the beach and just take a walk in the beach and bury your feet a little bit in the ground, or also inside the sand is good, or in the garden. If you work in the garden with your hands, at least once a day you do this. This is what's gonna balance the earth element inside you, and a lot of us don't do it. I know that for many days I wore shoes and I was in a city and I wasn't exposed to the earth at all. I was even living in a building, so I was above the earth. So at least once a day I want to come close to earth as much as possible, and that's what balances the earth element inside you. Another thing you can do is, let's say you're earth person, make sure you balance that with air, or make sure if you're a air person to balance that with earth, and so forth. You need to always keep this balance. So a big awareness in this video is how you balance yourself. If you're fire, go to surf a lot. If you're a very water person, be around fire, be in the sun a lot. Let your skin get exposed to sun. It's interesting that my yogi said that Sadhguru said, an interesting thing is that we managed to contaminate every element in the world. Like we contaminated with the oceans with plastic, the earth, we degraded the earth. Our air, of course, the ozone layer and everything in the air is polluted, but we didn't pollute the sun. So the sun is the only pure source of something that we didn't pollute yet, and it's a good way to balance yourself. So another important thing you can do to balance the earth element is with you, especially if you live in the city, at least once a week. Some people say once a month. Once a week, get out of the city to some natural place, maybe a forest outside of your city. I used to do it in Tel Aviv. Just the beach next to the city, sometimes it's not enough. You want to go somewhere where there's no beeps, no nothing, just you can really feel the earth itself. So once a week or even once a month, just go outside the city, like 20 kilometers out the city, to somewhere really natural, and just be in nature a little bit, just feel. You can do all these crazy things like go in the dark, let your senses get used to the natural darkness. Go to the nature, go to a park, touch something, put your hands in the ground. It sometimes feels stupid, but just touch a tree. Why do there is this thing, tree huggers? Why do people hug trees? It's connected with the earth. Really important. Now the next element is fire. What do you do with fire? With fire, you once a day, let's go for the best. Let's say you can do a campfire around your house. So once a day you put your hands next to the fire and just breathe it in a little bit, not the smoke, bring the fire in, be with the fire, and that's gonna let your body balance with the fire. Another thing that you need to do is to put the fire behind you. So what you're doing is basically you're exposing your back, your spine to the fire from the back side. And just take like 5 breaths like this, so you balance yourself in front of the fire and the back. If you don't have fire in your backyard and you can't do any fire, at least you can put a lamp with like vegetable oils or some natural oils on, or start even a small fire in your house. In the Buddha Suti process that I mentioned, we have this, it's raisin. It's like really pure natural raisin, and it's like a small piece, and I just light it like a candle, and then I expose myself to the fire, and I do this 5 breaths to balance this element inside me. If you can't do that, you can't burn anything today, another thing you can do is expose yourself to the sun. So the sun, like we said, is natural source of fire, and just exposing your skin at least once a day to the sun. I know that the society today, we don't really do it too much because sometimes we're stuck in the office all day, and that's why sometimes we feel depressed, we feel confused. It's well known that unexposure to the sun, vitamin D, it's making you depressed, but also not balanced, to balance this element within you. Okay, very important for water people. Okay, next element is the air. So the air is the element that is most easy to balance within you, because the air is just the breathing, because the air is always part of you. It's like you taking a breath, what the tree exhale, you inhale. So it's basically you're with the connection of the air with everything in the world. So what you need to do, it's something called pranayama. It's a very simple process of breath. It goes like this. I'm actually not going to teach this now, because a lot of people teach that, and this is not the place, but basically what you do is you do like this. And you balance the air within you. There's a lot of ways in different systems to do it. the best way to do it is actually going to the course of Sadhguru and doing the course of Buddha Suti, which is the cleansing of the 5 elements. And there in this course you have like really the top-edge yogic technologies for how to balance these 5 elements. So it's kind of similar to what I said now, but for the breath process, it's a little bit different. So it's a little bit more advanced. And also, just being aware of your breath, just once a day. Something that I definitely put into my life in recent years is just every time I do the dishes, taking a big breath and release. Or sometimes when I'm meeting a friend, I'm like, it's so good to see you. Just inserting this breath inside your life and being aware to the air, it's gonna balance your air. Now, this is a super cool thing I'm gonna give you now. It's like this trick about to balance your air. Another thing you can do is an air shower. Okay, what do? You stand where there's, someday take a day when there is like strong wind, like 20 kilometers an hour wind or more. You stand just like this, take off your shirt, just your skin exposed, just stand like this, like the Titanic, in front of the water, in front of the air for like 5 minutes. It's gonna really balance. It's like water, the water come and balance your energy. Strong wind can balance this too, and you're gonna feel refreshed. Your energy is gonna get renewed too. This is the air, really cool to balance that. Now the last thing, we come into the ether, the space, and now really using the ether, if I'll be honest, it's something that only yogis, real yogis like, and not like yoga teacher, enlightened yogis do and know how to use it. But a small thing that they recommend how to balance the ether is just saying thank you to the ether. Basically what you do is after the sundown, like now, or before the sun comes up, or when the sun is in the middle of the day, exactly. Basically what you do is you hold your hand in namaskar, like this, with 2 hands of course, and you just bow. So what are you bowing for? You're not bowing for God or anything like this, or spirits. You're just bowing for the space, the natural order of things, because the space is actually what's holding everything together. So if there was no ether, the elements wouldn't be in the right space. So you're basically saying this, something really simple, is like, thank you that everything is in its place. Thank you for everything is in place. And you just thank like this to the ether 3 times a day if you can do it. It's gonna cleanse the ether inside you, or at least in the morning. Really, really amazing and powerful thing. After doing this for 3 years, I have to tell you, when I'm doing this and I'm thanking the thing that in place, I have such a deep feeling, like I'm connected to something that is bigger than all of this, all of the life, all the bullshit. So really amazing thing to balance the ether too. So I gave you all these things. What I recommend to do is just put them in your mind, maybe write them down, and start to insert them in your life slowly by slowly. All these balancing things, and start slowly to control all the elements in you, because once you be balanced, you're not gonna, the triggers of life are not gonna affect you so much. Once you're be balanced, you're gonna be more healthy. I haven't went to the doctor for I don't know how long. I haven't been sick. I'm not afraid to be sick too, especially in today's life. Really important to balance your elements. It's gonna affect your body to be really healthy, and we don't have to say anymore. So another thing, if you have any question about what I said in this video, make sure to contact me. I know sometimes it's hesitating and you think, should I send this message or not? But really feel free to ask me about this element, because it's really important for me if I dedicated this time to bring this video to you. So if you have any question, you can ask me. So yeah, to sum up this video, gain more awareness to the elements around you, air. Sometimes you feel like flying in the air if you're this type of person. Fiery, very fiery, watery, very getting along with everyone, very chill and relaxed. Earth, very slow person, very grounded. So start getting awareness to this thing. That's the basic thing. And you can also look at other people and guess what are they. Also, another thing, you can take the Ayurvedic test online. I'm going to post one of the links for an Ayurvedic test down here, so it's easier for you to just test and see what elements is really you more than the other ones. And you can really research that, and it's a whole world by itself to understand Ayurveda and how the elements affect you with food. So pay attention to what you eat. If you're a very fiery person like me, don't eat spicy and hot all the time. It's gonna make you gonna make your system go crazy. Okay, and it's gonna make you feel really bad. I used to feel really bad after eating spicy food because I'm such a fiery person. My Ayurveda test shows like 65 or something fire. And it really, it ruined my day almost. And it ruined my energies. It took my energies a long time to recuperate from that. So pay attention to what elements are you touching. Are you in the sea too much or not? Are you in the earth? And also I gave all these tips to how to balance each one of the elements. And lastly, just check out your life and how this element affected your life. Like I told you in my story, that I always needed to live around the ocean because other climates like very cold or very hot was not right for me, and I really felt bad. So if you live in the wrong place, you might exert a lot of energy to try to balance from the place that is not in your right climate. It's not the right climate for you. So your energy, you waste a lot of energy to balance it every day because you are a fiery person and you live in the desert, or you're water and air person and you're living in a too much cold place, and all day you're depressed because all your energy is in your tired. I have a friend like this. He's living in Sweden, in north of Sweden, like the coldest place ever, and all day he's such a fiery person, and all day is like his energies are. So another thing about this, it can go wrong. Like he's a fiery person and he's too much cold place, so he can't find his fire. He can't balance his fire back to 60. So let's say his fire, because it's such a cold place, is in 20 all day. And if he be in the desert, his fire gonna be too much. It's gonna be in 80. So he needs the fire in 60. So if he needs to find a place that is balanced, like maybe a tropical place. So for me, it's like next to the ocean. It's very balanced in my fire. So don't live in a place that your elements are not balanced. And that's my final message. Hope you already subscribed to my YouTube channel, and also I hope you're already getting my newsletter and reading it, and you're subscribed to my newsletter. That's the most important in my website. If you really feel that this stuff is talking to you, and basically you got the advantage that you wanted from these videos, some tools that can give you a lot of value, immediate value in your personal development journey, and you want more, you feel this hunger to improve yourself, to evolve. It's mainly to evolve yourself, transformation. You get maybe not less problems, but more important problems. So your problems get bigger, but they get more quality. So your problems have more quality. And if you're this person that wants more, so start one of the services, one of the processes in my website. There is 6 or more services that you can start with. You can start with coaching. Just take a single coaching. Just start. It can be even online if you're not around me. And it can really help to build you up. Just one strategy, even a strategy session call, can really boost up your life in so many different ways. This is how I started 7 or 10 years ago. And this is how you can start. And it's really can give you a boost to your way. Don't take so long to get there like I did. Hope to see you soon. Hope to connect with you. If you've seen until now, I'm sure you're this kind of person that want to take more responsibility about your life, about your elements in your body. Take care. See you soon.